History remembers the headlines. We find the bylines. This is the unsung. When you hear the name Nikola Tesla, you likely think of electric cars, eccentric genius, and the man who beat Edison. History remembers him as the winner of the War of Currents. But behind that headline is a darker, more profound story. This wasn't just about AC versus DC. Tesla didn't just invent. He dreamed of liberating humanity with free, wireless energy for all. And for that very vision, he was bankrupted, sabotaged, and systematically erased by the very industries that profited from his earlier work. He was a celebrated inventor, a rock star of the Gilded Age, feted in the finest salons of New York. So how was a man of his stature so completely silenced and pushed into obscurity? This is the story of how industrial capitalism declared war on a genius and won. Tesla arrived in America in 1884, a lanky, intense Serbian immigrant with 4 cents in his pocket, a book of poetry, and a letter of recommendation to the most famous inventor in the world, Thomas Edison. The letter simply read, "My dear Edison, I know 2 great men, and you are one of them. The other is this young man." Edison, the pragmatic, iron-fisted wizard of Menlo Park, was dismissive but gave Tesla a job. He tasked him with improving his company's inefficient direct current, or DC, motors and generators. Edison promised him $50,000, a fortune at the time, if he succeeded. Tesla, working tirelessly, completely redesigned the systems. When he went to collect his reward, Edison just laughed. "Tesla," he said, "you don't understand our American humor." It was a brutal lesson. Edison saw invention as a path to profit. Tesla saw it as a path to a better future for humanity. The partnership was doomed. Broken and betrayed, Tesla left, spending a winter digging ditches to survive. But his genius couldn't be buried for long. He soon secured new backers and founded his own company. This is where he perfected the alternating current, or AC, induction motor, the very technology that powers our world today, from our refrigerators to factory machines. He sold his patents to the industrialist George Westinghouse, sparking the infamous War of Currents. But Tesla was never a businessman. He was a prophet of the future. While Edison and Westinghouse fought over who would power the Gilded Age cities, Tesla's mind was soaring far beyond. He envisioned a world powered by the Earth's own resonant frequency, transmitted wirelessly through the air, free for all to use. He pictured handheld devices receiving messages from across the globe. He was describing the smartphone and the internet in the 1890s. His mind was decades, sometimes centuries, ahead of its time. And that was the problem. He wasn't just building better gadgets. He was designing a new civilization, one that threatened the very foundations of the industrial empire being built around him. The pivotal suppression, the moment the system turned on him decisively, came with a structure that rose like a giant mushroom from the Long Island soil, Wardenclyffe Tower. In 1901, with $150,000 in funding from the most powerful banker on Earth, J.P. Morgan, Tesla began construction. This wasn't just a radio tower. It was the prototype for a world wireless system. It was designed to transmit not just information, stock quotes, telegrams, voices, but electrical power, drawn from the Earth and broadcast through the atmosphere. It was Tesla's magnum opus, the culmination of his life's work. The Gilded Age was a time of immense optimism and ambition, but even then, this was a project of almost mythical scale. Then, one night, Tesla met with Morgan and made a fatal mistake. He told him the truth. He explained that Wardenclyffe's energy would be broadcast universally. Anyone, anywhere, with a simple receiver, could tap into it. Morgan, the master of monopolies, who built his empire by controlling railroads, steel, and electricity grids, listened intently. The story goes that he paused, looked at Tesla, and asked a simple, devastating question. If anyone can draw on the power, where do we put the meter? In that one question, Tesla's utopian dream collided with the brutal reality of industrial capitalism. Free energy meant no profits. No profits meant no investment. Morgan immediately withdrew all funding. He then blacklisted Tesla, ensuring no other major investor would touch his projects. The newspapers, once full of praise for the visionary inventor, began to turn on him, influenced by Morgan's immense power. Wardenclyffe, the symbol of a new era, stood unfinished, a silent monument to a suppressed future. By 1917, The magnificent tower was dynamited and sold for scrap to help pay off Tesla's mounting debts. It was a clear and public execution of his dream. The message was sent: you do not give away what we can sell. Later, his advanced laboratory in New York burned to the ground in a mysterious fire, destroying years of priceless research and notes. In his final decades, Tesla became a ghost haunting the city he once planned to electrify. He was pursued by creditors, mocked by the press as a mad scientist, and died alone and in debt in room 3327 of the New Yorker hotel. Tesla's erasure was not an accident. It was a systematic, multi-layered campaign. First, there was direct corporate sabotage. Edison, desperate to protect his DC empire, launched a vicious smear campaign, publicly electrocuting dogs, cats, and even an elephant with AC to prove how dangerous it was. This was pure propaganda. Later, even his supposed ally, George Westinghouse, betrayed him. On the verge of bankruptcy from the costly current war, Westinghouse told Tesla he had to tear up their original royalty contract, one that would have made Tesla the richest man in the world. To save the AC system he believed in, Tesla agreed, ripping up the contract and forfeiting billions in future earnings. Second was financial starvation. The bankers and financiers of the era, men like J.P. Morgan, were not patrons of science. They were architects of control. They funded inventions that created profitable monopolies, things you could put a meter on: oil, railroads, and metered electricity. Tesla's vision of free, decentralized power was the antithesis of their business model. They didn't just refuse to fund him. They actively blocked him, creating a financial quarantine around his ideas. Third, after his death in 1943, came government seizure. As World War II raged, the U.S. government's Office of Alien Property Custodian swooped in and seized all of Tesla's papers, trunks, and research, over 80 trunks full of material. The official reason was national security, to prevent his death ray technology from falling into enemy hands. But decades later, many of those documents have never been fully declassified or released to the public, fueling speculation about what technologies they might contain. Finally, there was historical appropriation. Guglielmo Marconi is credited with inventing the radio, winning a Nobel Prize for it. But he did it using 17 of Tesla's patents. It wasn't until months after Tesla's death that the U.S. Supreme Court finally overturned Marconi's patent in favor of Tesla's, a correction that came far too late. Countless corporations built fortunes on concepts like wireless communication, remote control, and alternating current that Tesla pioneered, often without a single word of credit or compensation. His name was literally written out of the textbooks. Today, Tesla's name is being reclaimed, but in a way that proves his story's point. It's largely a brand for luxury electric cars, a product owned by a corporation, a symbol of status. It is not associated with the profit of free energy for all. His true legacy is not a car. It is a profound and urgent warning that truly transformative ideas that empower the public and decentralize control, will always threaten entrenched power. And those who champion them often pay a terrible price. Nikola Tesla dreamed of a world lit by clean, wireless, and abundant power for everyone. It was a future he had the genius to build, but one the world's power brokers refused to allow. It's a dream we are still chasing today, over a century later, as we grapple with climate change and energy crises. His story forces us to ask, what other brilliant ideas, what other potential futures have been suppressed because they didn't fit a business model? Who are the other visionaries whose ideas were buried because they threatened the status quo? Share their stories in the comments below. Thanks for watching The Unsung. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the bylines of history.